Welcome back to Your Deeds, and we are going to be doing a DragonBall What-if about Bardock going to the Earth. So if you want to ask me any questions or anything whilst I'm going on, there's a box I can see for the chat. So I'll be able to answer whatever you want. So the What-if is about Bardock going to Earth. In my own opinion, I don't think Bardock would, because the people on the planet sent Goku down to the Earth before Bardock got back from the planet where his crew got killed. So he doesn't know where Goku got launched to. And that's how I ended up doing a What If with Bardock and Raditz before being together instead. Since people asked for this What If a lot on other channels, I thought I might as well do it. Or try it. So let's start. Kakarot's just got launched to Earth. Bardock came back instead of going to warn other Saiyans. He went to the scientists to get the destination of Kakarot pod. So he ran to a pod to Earth. So he just launched off and saw Frieza's spaceship with a big red ball heading towards the planet. Vegeta blows the planet towards planet Vegeta, blows the planet up. Gohan finds the kid and everything happens the same. So this is Grandpa Gohan, the one who lives in the wilderness, who finds Goku. So the same, later another pod landed. Bardock was badly injured and removed his own tail to hide. Also, he couldn't move for some time until he heard a loud roar waking Bardock up, and he saw a giant ape. He saw a guy fighting the great ape and chopped off Kakarot's tail as just before Kakarot about to crush Gohan. Kakarot turned back to normal, whilst Bardock and Gohan thought that they were Saiyans and Earthling race. They both raised Kakarot up and Bardock, giving Kakarot training in combat and hunting, whilst Gohan sparred with Bardock. Eventually Gohan headed to Roshi's with Bardock and Kakarot, so they got introduced. So with Bardock knowing that Kakarot be in safe hands, Bardock went searching around the earth for strong fighters, but no one seems to be strong enough, so he fell in despair thinking that he won't be able to overcome Frieza. He goes into the bar and gets wasted, then starts a bar fight, but took down everyone in one kick and continued drinking until a woman came up to him. Bardock suddenly has a vision of 9 Saiyans standing in front of Frieza and seeing himself in front of all the others, meaning he'd be the leader, rebel leader someday, and knows who the rest are, but one puzzled him, that he looks the same as Goku and Bardock. Bardock spent the night with the woman, and she told him that a tournament will be starting next day, which brings the strongest fighters. Bardock feels pumped and fights at the tournament, but when he got to the final against Crane Hermit, he had another vision of the world being ruled by a small purple thing. But whilst he was having the vision, Crane Hermit knocked Bardock off the stage. Bardock got up and flew away to check on Kakarot. At the age he is now, be at the start of Dragon Ball. So Bardock told Kakarot about the past and that he could see into the future, but Kakarot didn't understand most of it, so Bardock told Gohan and Roshi about the vision of a small purple guy ruling the world. Then Gohan and Roshi came to the same conclusion, that the Dragon Balls might have been used. So Roshi handed it to Bardock for a keepsake, and Gohan mentioned he had one too, and that he will protect the 4-star ball with his life. The next day, Bardock's mind was at rest, so he began to train Kakarot how to use Ki Blast by firing across the sea. Gohan passed Goku the pole as a token since he went back to his own. Bulma arrives at Gohan's house asking for the ball. Gohan defended himself and told Bulma to leave, so Bulma tried to convince him by showing the other 2 Dragon Balls. Gohan then asked, "What do you want to wish for?" And she replied, "A special man." Gohan asked, about how she found two of them. Bulma said she used the radar. Gohan phoned Roshi that he will be hunting down the Dragon Balls whilst keeping the 4-star close to him. So he went on the adventure with Bulma and found Roshi's tail on the path. So Gohan carried him all the way to the sea and then carried on towards Oolong's village. Bardock had started to think that he could use the Dragon Balls to send a signal to the Saiyans, but waited for the time to train Kakarot. Kakarot was still struggling to fly, so Bardock asked Roshi if there was anything to add weight on him. So Roshi gave him a shell that weighted 10 pounds. Kakarot practiced all day. The next morning, he was flying around the island without the shell on. So that idea comes from like Superman and that, where they come from a heavy gravity planet, and then they can just fly on a low gravity planet. So Pilaf came to the island for the Dragon Ball, but Bardock didn't care and sent his son to fight, then to see what he was made of. Kakarot beat them easily, but he couldn't finish them off, so Bardock steps in and charges a energy blast, but Kakarot pushes Bardock's arm and Pilaf's gang ran away. Bardock mentions to Kakarot he's too soft, so he grabs him and flies to put Kakarot on an island filled with just animals, then watched from afar. The next day he went to the bar to meet the woman and took her back to Roshi's place. She ended up being pregnant, so Bardock stayed with her while checking upon Kakarot. Kakarot has taken down the strongest animal and protected the wildlife, so Bardock gave up trying to make him not soft. So he landed and all the animals hid until Kakarot told the animals to come out. So they all rushed out and jumped on Kakarot. Bardock thought to himself, maybe I'm doing this wrong, so they both flew back to Roshi's and introduced Kakarot to the woman. But before that, he saw Roshi up to his dirty tricks, so Bardock warned him never to do it again. Gohan has travelled through the desert and encountered Yamcha, but Yamcha knowing who Gohan was, so he bowed down and asked to come with, so they headed to the Fire Mountain with Gohan knowing the Ox King. They were both students from the Master Roshi's, so they talked for a long time, and eventually Ox King asked for Banjo Fan, but to put out the fire, so Yamcha used the Dino Cap to make a hover car, so they went to Roshi's, leaving Gohan with the Ox King. Bulma arrives and sees everyone through the window. With the turtle knowing who she was, Bulma asked for Banjo Fan, but he didn't have it, so Bardock and his son went with them back to the mountain and told Kakarot to use the energy blast to put it out. Bardock checked up on Gohan on how many Dragon Balls they had, and he said 4, and one is in the Fire Mountain. So after Kakarot destroyed the mountain, Bulma looked on the Dragon Radar and realized that Bardock kept carrying one. So she tries to get the Dragon Ball off him, but Bardock didn't fall for any of it, so Bulma retrieved the ball from the rubble of the mountain. A little girl came up to Kakarot thanking him, which was the Ox King's daughter. Bardock's tail grows back, meaning Kakarot's tail will grow back soon, so he kept an eye on him. He mentions it to Gohan. Bardock took Kakarot to one side to tell him not to look at the full moon because she will turn into a powerful massive ape. Kakarot notices Bardock's tail for the first time. He saw a tail coming out of the back area, so he didn't take any notice to Bardock and made Kakarot wanting one. So they all went together for the last Dragon Ball as Pilaf Palace. Pilaf saw all the people in the camera and surrendered, so he came out of the palace and handed the Dragon Ball. And at that moment, Bardock told everyone to go back to Roshi's place. So when everyone arrived, Bardock asked if he could make the wish since he stopped Pilaf from taking the world. So everyone agreed, and so the dragon was summoned. Bardock wished for all the Saiyans that are still alive to be summoned to this area. So the dragon did the wish and scattered it, but before they do, Bardock told Kakarot to catch one. and he did the same, so no one evil can obtain them. All the Saiyans stood around looking at each other, and noticed two people looked the same whilst the table was getting reacquainted with Vegeta and Bardock. With Vegeta and Bardock, Kakarot talked to Nappa and Raditz. Pedigrees and Broly stood in place until Bardock and Nappa came over to talk to Pedigrees. Broly lashed out and started to attack everyone, knocking all the Saiyans away. The full moon came out, created 7 great apes in one blue form. It was a massive battle, but with all 7 combined, they weighed Broly out. Once everything calmed down, Bardock removed Broly's tail permanently, then asked everyone if they are going after Frieza. They all said yes, but Tailless stayed quiet, so everyone agreed. But Broly didn't care, only if he gets a good fight, and Pedigrees was along for the ride. Roshi says there'll be a tournament in 9 months' time, so Bardock told everyone to train in the wasteland, and Kakarot rode its table to stay with Master Roshi and Gohan. So it's the first time for the brothers to meet, so they ended up having a rivalry. See who was better. Bulma, Yamcha, Pa, and Oolong returned back to the city to get away from them all. Krillin arrived on the island to be trained by Master Roshi. Krillin had his weight cut out for him, but got on well with Table, so they all began training with Master Roshi and Gohan. Doing the milk run, digging the construction, swimming, and dodging bees. At the end of the day, Raditz turned against Roshi, that he was fed up taking orders from a human. So Roshi said to him, "Do you want to have a spar match?" Even when Raditz was stronger by a bit, Roshi's experience still won by dodging his moves and countering, learning him not to rush into fights until Raditz gave up. So this is just like a note for me to know where people are or what groups they are. So Bardock had respect for Nappa for looking after Raditz, but Vegeta cared less, and also Tailless was Bardock straight away to keep it last resort. So Tailless was going on about the tree map that he had 1 seed left and says we can get unbelievable power. Bardock straight away to keep it for the last resort. They all began to fight each other, Vegeta waiting in the background, thinking this is a tiresome, so he went off and trained by himself. Pedigrees was trying to plot something to Broly, but ended up getting on his nerves, so Broly killed Pedigrees and then went to Vegeta to see what he was made of. So Vegeta fought against Broly for a long time, stopping Bardock, Tailless, Nappa training. And whilst they were watching, Vegeta started to enjoy the fight with Broly. But in the end, Broly won, but Vegeta didn't care because he knows who to beat. Broly targeted Tailless and Bardock with a grin and started to fly towards them. The long battle started and took a full day to finish. When they did, Broly was worn out. Same with Tailless and Bardock. So they all kept training, but sometimes Broly used to go mad, with power making them all stand up to Broly when he does. Kakarot, Raditz, Table, and Krillin kept training, and after training Table also Krillin wanted to know how to fly, so Goku and Raditz taught them to. When the 9 months was up, they regrouped at Roshi's place to go to the tournament. Broly wasn't interested in weaklings, so he went back and carried on training. The rest entered, but Master Roshi didn't. He watched from the stands with Bulma and the rest. Vegeta vs Yamcha got knocked straight through the wall in the preliminary rounds, where they have them 4 base squares. So people got through. Vegeta, Nappa, Tailless, Bardock, Table, Krillin, Kakarot, and Raditz. The first match was Vegeta and Table. Table was nervous facing his brother, but Vegeta wasn't holding back with the training with Roshi. Table could invade some of Vegeta's attack, but he was outmatched by Vegeta's resulting in knockout. The second match, Krillin vs Nappa. Nappa underestimated Krillin for being a human, so Krillin went all out whilst Nappa was busy. Talking to Krillin, sweep him up on his feet and head-butted him off the stage. The third match, Raditz vs Tailless. Tailless charged at Raditz, but Raditz didn't care, stood his one place, and kept dodging until Tailless ran out of steam, so Raditz just kicked him off the stage. The fourth match, Bardock vs Kakarot Goku. Kakarot started to act weird, doing the crazy monkey style fighting stance. Bardock didn't know the movements, so Bardock mimics the moves. Kakarot at the edge when he grabbed Bardock's tail, but didn't do anything. Bardock grabbed Kakarot's tail, swinging him around until it broke off. Nothing seemed to work on Bardock, so Kakarot lured him to the near the end. Right. Nothing seemed to work on Bardock, so Kakarot lured him near the end of the stage and used After Image, knocking Bardock off. Semi-finals, Krillin vs Vegeta. Krillin ran up to Vegeta but then got kicked, sending Krillin out of bounds. Raditz vs Kakarot. So Raditz had the upper hand in the fight and eventually won. Final round, Raditz vs Vegeta. With Roshi's training, Raditz has gained a lot of power, but Vegeta thinks he's just the same, so Vegeta plays around with Raditz, sending ki blasts on after another, but then keeps getting reflected by Raditz. Raditz charges through the ki blasts and punches Vegeta in the gut. The full moon came out and everyone transformed into great apes, destroying everything, so Roshi charged the full power Kamehameha at the moon, blowing it up, reverting everyone back to normal. Vegeta and Raditz was down, so one who stood up and say they were the champ, they would win. Vegeta got up and fell off the stage, whilst Raditz stayed down and claimed the champ. After Raditz woke up, he gave the prize money to Roshi for the training, so Roshi paid for 3 houses for the group, and Bulma was fascinated about Vegeta and left Yamcha on the spot. They all gathered food for a big meal and invited everyone, even Broly. Roshi's house was full, so he moved it outside and all started eating, scoffing everything down. Bulma got closer to Vegeta. When they stopped eating, Bardock tries to find the woman, but she's gone, and all that was left was a kid called Kumba. So he had no chance but to take care of it. So he went to his new house in the city with the rest, but Kakarot noticed the ball color came back, but kept it away from everyone else, so they went as well. Bardock said to Broly, "You can have this ball, people will challenge you for it." Broly takes it without knowing what it is, but happy to receive it. So, hope you enjoyed the video. If it took me a full day to write this, meaning 8 hours, so if you have any questions. Just want to point out that Vegeta Reddit's table are the young stage since Kakarot turns adult. After King Piccolo's death, but before Piccolo Jr.'s fight, so Raditz and Vegeta will change at the start of Evil Piccolo's arc, and table same as Kakarot. Bardock and Nappa are the oldest, whilst Tailless and Broly are same as Goku. Broly got summoned before he ended up with a device of Paragis, so he wasn't Super Saiyan or Legendary. That will come later on. Since all the Saiyans are here, they won't be a Saiyan arc. Goku and Chi-Chi will be still a thing later on. Launch might not be, not sure. Vegeta and Bulma are still going to be a thing. One question to who's older, Raditz or Vegeta. And the final one is, if Table got sent to another planet, would he be same age as Goku, since they both got sent from the planet before it blew up? If you want to see more of this, what if, leave a like or or if you want, I'll have a discussion down in the comments. You can leave me a what if, I don't mind, be happy to do one if they lead anywhere, but if the what if doesn't change the timeline of the show, then I will try my best to do something with it. It doesn't have to start at the very start of Dragon Ball. I just do that to make a foundation, like I done some from the start of Dragon Ball Z. The problem is that in Dragon Ball Z, if you're playing by the timeline and a certain plot doesn't exist, if it doesn't happen or if it doesn't exist or it changes a slight bit, it always results to the death, to the main character's deaths. So they always end up dying, then the story gets messy, like this, like with this what if Goku went to die fighting against Reddits because they are on the same side, so no Kaioken. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below if you want to, so you don't have to. And in a bit.